Welcome back. My name is Jack, the snack that smiles back. It is just me, only me today, definitely no one else. Say hello, Emily!
Hello!
Ah, she's back, and her voice isn't as scratchy and sore anymore.
Yeah. Back for 2 nights only.
Yeah. Limited seats available. More stories today. Let's just jump straight into it. This story from Off My Chest. My ex has a daughter that she named after a dead friend I made up and that never existed. And I feel bad.
Now, when you think of I made her up, what comes to mind?
I imagine this is just like a friend that they had like a imaginary friend of sort of thing, and they just pretended they existed or told stories about them.
Look, you couldn't be more wrong.
When I was a teenager, I had a girlfriend, and it was my first major relationship. I was so self-conscious then, I was always afraid it would end, so I made up a fake online profile named Anne and added my ex and made friends with her to spy on her. I used to use Anne's account to manipulate her when she wanted to break up, and it worked for a good year past our 18th birthdays. But by this point, 2007, it was easier to do with the era before sending pics and video calls was normal. But pressure was on, and my relationship was still in trouble. I decided I had no choice but to get rid of Anne. By this point, I had fake accounts as Anne's husband and sister, and I messaged my ex on the Anne's husband one day with news that Anne had died in a car accident. My ex was devastated and grief-stricken. I felt like Schmidt and still feel bad when I think of how she cried. Me and my ex split shortly after, and we didn't talk at all until this year. Now, 14 years later, she adds me on Facebook, and she's married, and we are all older and more mature. We apologize and let the past be. I added her husband, and we all had a video chat where she introduced her husband and her son, and then her daughter, Anne. I about died. She said she never let go of her best friend and named her daughter to honor her. I felt like Schmidt all over again as I was going to admit Anne was fake and how I have moved on from those days of manipulation. I didn't say a word, but I truly feel awful. I never thought an online friend she never met in person she knew for 13 months meant that much to anyone. Do I confess? Go ahead and let her believe Anne was real? Just as a note, that's the only time we all video chatted, and we don't talk a lot, just likes or comments on pics mostly. She lives across the country. I'm glad she lives so far away from you, dude. That's, like, I get you move on, you've matured, but...
You literally traumatized her.
Yeah.
By killing off her best friend.
That's dark, dude. That's dark. So top comment saying, tell her nothing. You did this. You get to live with it. You'll only make the situation worse telling her. Should he confess about this, or should he kind of just let it...
No, he should... I think he should leave it. I feel like the damage is done. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to 14 years later be like, hey, so you remember that time where you cried for months on end because your best friend died? Well, she wasn't real, and I made her up to manipulate you to do what I wanted.
Oh.
You've put her through enough, and then you want to go and throw that into the mix? She can go on thinking that her best friend unfortunately died, and she has honored her best friend by naming her daughter after her. That's all that needs to be done. If he goes and throws that grenade into that relationship, he's an asshole. Like, he's an absolute asshole. Like, he's only thinking about himself right now.
I mean, I guess that, like, if he's gonna throw a grenade, if she's next to Bruno Mars, she'll be fine, because, like, he'll catch a grenade for you.
Alright, I'm gonna head back to sea.
No! Moving over to whether or not this person's an a-hole. Am I the a-hole for punishing my daughter for sliding this note underneath the bedroom door? We recently moved into a new house. Expectedly, there's still a lot of mess to clean up, and my wife and I have been working non-stop to get everything ready before the holidays. So, this incident took place last night at around 9ish p.m. My wife and I decided to go to our room to rest and get some privacy, leaving the kids watching a movie together in the living room. Well, while me and my wife were, suddenly I noticed movement near the door and saw a finger slipping a small piece of paper, then disappearing. Later on, I went to check it out, and got extremely ticked off. I shouted my 14-year-old daughter's name and told her to come stand before me and read what she wrote out loud. The note said, "Keep it down. There are kids in this house." I then responded with, I know. How do you think you and your brother and sister got here?" Then told her how her behavior was out of line completely to disrespect me and her mum like that and interrupt our privacy. She said we were really loud and she and the other kids were getting uncomfortable, but she didn't know how to tell us after she tried to call her mum's phone, but it was turned off. So sliding the note was her only choice. I told her she never should have done that and that it was rude of her to address me and her mum like that, and grounded her by taking away her phone and no visiting friends or allowing them to come for a month. She threw a 3-year-old tantrum and said I was being unfair and just looking for an excuse to limit her time with her friends. I refused to argue about this any further. I told her any attempts to complain will extend her punishment period. She stormed off crying, and my wife said I was too harsh on her and overreacted over a small incident. She is trying to talk me out of punishing our daughter, but I refused. Am I the a-hole? Good on you, Dad, for being communicative with your partner by refusing to listen to her.
I think the comments really summed it up. I think the top few comments.
Okay. Top comment, 26k upvotes. Ooh, yum yum. So, based on the fact that he shouted at his 14-year-old daughter to come over and read what she said, oh no, you think this is parenting. You're the a-hole. She asked to be considered by you, and you made her stand at attention like a soldier to shame her for asking rather politely? She could have knocked on the door, screamed, just came in because this is a new house and you don't know Schmidt about it, really? Like, the fact that you might be accidentally traumatizing your kids, you don't see how making children upset with your having good times near them is a very important thing to remedy. And it is not the fault of the children. Don't act surprised one day when she stops talking to you. Yeah, this was my immediate reaction to the whole idea of him being like, where do you think you guys came from? Like, yeah, sure. When she's maybe 18 or 19, you can say that kind of stuff to her. I'm all for traumatizing kids, but this is too far.
The red comment.
Okay.
Red comment.
You are traumatizing your children, then shaming and punishing one of them for expressing discomfort that mum and dad were banging so loud it was literally making her and her younger siblings uncomfortable. All great ways to fast track them going no contact with you as soon as they turn 18. Yeah, I don't know about his experience with his parents, but yeah, I'm so thankful I never experienced ever hearing or seeing my parents getting it on. No offense to them.
It's not even like a gross thing. It's just like, why would you want to be in a position where your children can hear you? Is there not something in the back of your mind, like, maybe we should keep it down, seeing as they are literally underneath us watching a movie?
The last thing I'd want is some underage children, the memory of me in their minds, of me, naked and doing it with someone. That's yuck.
Mummy just hurt her back. I'm just readjusting it for her.
This one's a good story just from the username alone. That's clearly a throwaway. Username Frick Everything. Am I the a-hole for telling my mum she either takes my kids in or they go up for adoption? Her and my husband pushed me into having kids when I didn't really want them. He is going to prison for years, and I don't want to be a single mom to kids I never wanted anyway. This is going to be dark. I have to keep a lot of this private and vague. After years of what I thought was my husband having a successful career, he was arrested for embezzlement and fraud. Will do jail time and will be paying restitution forever, and will probably never get a decent job ever again. No court case because he confessed. So, he got a reduced sentence, but our lives are still utterly destroyed. I have a baby I was pregnant with when he was first arrested, and a toddler. I was ambivalent about having kids, especially the first few years. He and my mother really pushed for it. I caved on the condition I have a full-time nanny to deal with things like getting up through the night and diaper changes. After all, my husband could afford it, and he was the one who wanted it most. Well, now he's arrested. We had to let go of the nanny, and I'm stuck doing everything I never ever wanted to do. Late nights, literal poo, spit up, and I'm so depressed and regretful. I'm so angry he was dishonest with me because I feel like I was tricked into this life. I like being a mum less than I thought I would, even with the help. And being a mum is utterly unbearable without the help. I'm now broke because everything has to be sold for restitution, and it was fair game since it was in both names. I have a college degree and can earn an okay living, but not by New York City metro area standards as a single income earner with kids. To keep them, have to move back to my deeply conservative red home state so my mum can help with the kids, and I'm devastated. And of course, you can't get child support when the dad is in prison. I'll unlikely never find another relationship. And in my home area, I'm not going to like the type of men who live there at all. I want to send the kids to live with my mum and move to Europe and start a new life away from the stigma. I have a European passport through my dad, died when I was in high school, so can do so easily. I told her she takes them or they go up for adoption. I do have love for them, but I can't be a single mum. She said I am being unfair, but I can't do this, and they are both young enough they'd get adopted easily. My soon-to-be ex-husband has left the poor single mum of 2 kids I regret, and don't see how I'll ever be happy again. These are not the mumming conditions I agreed to. I would have never agreed to be a single mum with no nanny. But now I'm stuck with 2 kids and the stigma of having a baby daddy in prison. My mother guilted me endlessly about having grandkids, so I don't think it's unfair to ask her to step up since she knew I wasn't a kid person, but pushed me and even told me she'd be disappointed in me as a daughter if I didn't make her a grandma. So if she really wants them, she can raise them. But she won't stop saying I'm blackmailing. But I can't raise these kids. I just can't. I was deceived into a life that is not for me and want to start over because it is not my fault I was tricked by my ex-husband. So
that's a lot. I think that is well above my pay grade.
This is well above the subreddit's pay grade. That is so many things to consider here. The story's only an hour old as of reading this, so it's like there's no even real top comments. You're the a-hole, not because you didn't want to be a mum, but no one can force you to be a mum. You could have said no. If someone doesn't respect your boundaries, then maybe you should cut ties with them. As for your kids, it's ironic you don't want to be back to your mum's red state, but you are willing to send your kids there. Okay, valid ideas there. Let's go to a Natar though and see what they say. I really wish you'd stuck to your guns and not had kids in the first place, but I see what you mean about being relentlessly worn down by your mum and husband and finally giving in under very different circumstances. This really does suck. I also think it's worth keeping in mind that you wouldn't really be doing them any favors by keeping them if you really don't want to be a mum. You'd feel like the kids ruined your life, which admittedly, from your POV, would be largely true, along with the embezzlement situation of course, and the kids would pick up on that resentment and unhappiness. If your mum could be a good parent to them, they probably are better off.
I feel like that's a pretty important point to make, because do you want children that grow up being resented and treated very poorly, or do you want kids that grow up in an actual loving home who are incredibly wanted? And I don't think sending those kids to your mum is going to be the solution, because you will still always be in their life and she will probably remind them all the time that you abandoned them.
Oh yes. Oh, especially some conservative mother who pressured her into having kids. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's read on to this. Everyone sucks here though as well. Every single person involved over the age of 2 are absolutely atrocious human beings. The kids will either end up in the system where if they eventually get adopted, big if, there is a very high likelihood of being separated as well. Or OP keeps them and they grow up with one parent in jail and another who resents their very existence. Or go live with grandma, who clearly did such a great job raising OP. I really feel bad for them. If he told her there was a risk in how he was getting his money, and she chose, despite that, to still be with him, then yeah, this would be much more on her. But I think that everyone in the comments are wrong. I think this deserves to be a no a-holes here, because she was...
Except for the mum.
Yeah, well, yeah,
like,
like
telling your child that I will be disappointed in you as a daughter if you don't provide me with grandchildren.
Yeah.
That's a big a-hole move.
We'll leave that one there then. You know, a lot of points to consider
Stressful.
with this one. Yeah, very stressful one. I do kind of still want to lean towards no a-holes here, but I definitely do agree with a lot of the points of Natar. You going to say Natar?
I don't feel comfortable making a judgment.
Okay. Well, I'm
So I
going to be
won't.
judgy because I'm a white male. I'm going to judge everything. My opinion matters.
Class.
Okay, moving on to the next story. Am I the a-hole for yelling at girlfriend for burning dinner? Today, she really did it this time. I get off a 12-hour shift and I come home to her fumbling around in the kitchen. She has barely any cooking skills. Honestly, guys, if a girl has no cooking skills, that's a red flag.
Get the fuck out! Do you have any cooking skills, sir? Do you?
He doesn't need them, babe. He's cooking money. Once she notices me see her fail cooking dinner and basically wasting food making it, she gets really embarrassed and starts to say how sorry she is. I didn't even say anything to her. I was so mad I just locked myself in the room.
Yeah, stay there forever. Don't come out.
Give her the key. After about 45 minutes of me showering and just laying there, I go to make a sandwich and I see her on the couch, hurled up looking sad. She then remarks she ordered pizza. I was not in the mood for pizza. We have pizza like every week. Like what the frick, you know? I think my fuse basically just blew right then. I don't want fricking pizza all the time. Why can't you learn to cook? Jesus fricking... So on and so on. You can tell she was holding back tears, but she acts like she can cry out of everything. She is 22 years old already. When the pizza gets here, we eat, and I tell her I'm sorry for yelling earlier. She said it's okay, but she didn't seem like she really accepted it. Now, she wants to sleep on the couch watching Hulu instead of lay with me. I could confront her about it, but I'm not in the mood to argue. I know this isn't an advice sub, but did I go too far, or am I right to have some sort of expectations? Top comment, obviously. Bro, the only red flag here is you. You're the a-hole. She's not your slave, and you have no right to treat her like that ever. Cook yourself dinner, you nugget-shoed paper bag. Beautiful. You're the a-hole, a huge one. This isn't the 1960s. Women aren't required to have cooking skills. And how is she supposed to develop any cooking skills if she can't even make mistakes without you yelling at her? Yep. The OP does say though, we take turns cooking, buh. And a great response.
Why the fuck don't you teach us?
Seriously, were your arms broken or something? Or were you just like those nice guys who expect women to always know how to cook? Either way, I'm gonna say Natar. I think he was just, openly communicating in the relationship, and that's very healthy. She listened. He listened to her as well. It's a good, healthy relationship right there. No problem. Nothing wrong with run. You should run. Your thoughts, though?
I think I've made my thoughts very clear.
Are you sure? I don't know. Going to a wedding story because, of course, it's ATAR. There has to be at least one wedding story. Am I the a-hole for not contributing to my family's expenses related to my wedding? My fiancé, 26-year-old female, and I, a 28-year-old male, are getting married at a destination wedding next summer. The destination is special to my fiancée as she vacationed there with her family a couple of times when she was younger, and it holds sentimental value to her. I was open to the idea since I am pretty indifferent when it comes to wedding planning, and this seemed like an easy way to check a lot of boxes at once. Plus, the added bonus of my fiancée getting a wedding she dreamed about. Of course, the downfall of a destination wedding is that people might not be able to attend. We expected this and had a lot of conversations about making sure we don't take anything personally if people can't attend, and were very clear to the people we asked to be in our wedding party about the cost and expectations. There were a couple friends I asked to be groomsmen that had to decline due to them having young kids, and I totally get that and respect it. I'm not an idiot. My wedding is not more important than your kids to you. Good, very mature.
What a great guy.
Yeah. This hasn't been as much of a problem with my fiance's side, as her family comes from money, and destination weddings are kind of the norm for them. In the time we've dated, I think 4 to 5 of her cousins have had destination weddings, but we only attended one of them, and there was no fuss on anyone's part about the ones we didn't go to. My family, however, does not come from money. When I told my parents and siblings about our wedding plans, they all kind of freaked out about not being able to afford it. I get it. My siblings have kids and expenses too. I told them I understand if it's not something they are able to afford, And while I would love for them to be there, I won't hold it against them if they can't make it work. Now, my parents have guilted me over it a little bit, but have assured me they will be attending. However, they told me that we should all pool some money together, and by all, they mean mostly me, to make sure all my siblings and their families can attend. I told them there is pretty much no way I can do that. My 2 sisters got wind of this idea, probably from my mum, and they said that the only way they can attend is if I help pay for at least half of their trips for their whole families, kids included. I kind of laughed at that and told them there is no way I will do that. They said that since I am the one who decided to have a destination wedding, that it is my responsibility to make sure my family can all attend. I told them that I love them and would love to have them at my wedding, but I am not funding vacations for their entire family. I said the only way I would even consider it would be if it was just them and their spouses, no kids. They said that excluding their kids was not acceptable. They told me that I have turned into a stuck-up a-hole since I got engaged, and I am rubbing my fiancé's money in their faces. They accused me of having a destination wedding on purpose to rub it in their faces that they can't afford something like it. Now, edit. It was suggested to me that I add a comment I made to this post. So, in regards to that it hurts them to watch you choose money over their participation in your life, it hurts them to be excluded from the wedding of their close loved one. Well, they don't really show much interest in my life anyway. Hell, when my sisters FaceTimed me to complain, it was the first time either of them had taken the time to call me in almost 18 months. I am 10 years younger than my older sister and 8 years younger than the other. I have been an afterthought in their lives ever since they started having kids. I don't hold it against them. I get it. Their families are the most important thing in their lives. I make sure to send cards for each of their kids on every birthday, gifts for every kid at Christmas. I don't even get a text from them on my birthday. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm kidding myself into thinking I actually want them there, and this is just my subconscious reminding me that they don't give a frick about me unless they think they can get something out of it. But for them to act like they actually care about my important life events kind of makes me laugh now that I think about it.
The only people that need to be at the wedding is the bride, the groom, the officiant, and possibly a witness.
Yeah.
Everyone else is just an added bonus. Like, it'd be kind of shitty to miss your brother's wedding, I understand. But you can't just demand he pay for it for you.
Like, yeah, you can argue that, if you really did care about your family, you'd find a wedding that's more affordable and that kind of thing. This wedding is about you and your partner. It's not about your family specifically.
Exactly.
You're clearly doing this wedding for your wife, or for your fiance. She wanted this beautiful destination dream wedding. This is her wedding. I mean, it's your wedding together, but this is something that definitely is more meaningful to her than it is to you. So, of course, you're going to prioritize her wants, and she wants it here. So you're going to have it here. Suck it, sisters. Like, this is the top comment. The most popular comment is actually accusing him of yatar, saying, you're throwing a wedding that you know your family can't attend financially, but your wife's can. You therefore know that this will be a wedding for your wife's family, not yours. Again, it's not for her family, it's for her.
Also, his parents are going. If you were upset that your sisters couldn't make it, I'm sure you would do something, put money aside for them. But you don't really care because they've had no contact with you in the last year and a half.
This one here as well, further with that comment, you're pretending it's just one day and it's no big deal if they miss it, like you won't be offended, like your feelings won't be hurt, but that's your way of deflecting the point. It hurts them to watch you choose money over their participation in life. It hurts them to be excluded from the wedding of their close loved one.
Close loved one.
Yeah, not close. But he does make that updated point. And then, good. Some people do change their minds on this. Based on this, Natar, you're not close and that sucks, but you are doing your due diligence in the relationship and they aren't. The age gap can make sibling relationships more complicated. Heavily downvoted one. Your family does not have disposable income to go on destination weddings. Wife's family can. Again, making the same argument. This is more for your wife's family than yours. Well, I am looking to spend the rest of my life with my fiance. So in your black and white situation here, I would choose to disappoint my family instead of my future wife 100% of the time. Yeah.
You can't bloody choose your family. You're just born into it. So if you go out and you find someone incredible that you want to spend your life with, do anything you can to keep that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if your sister is upset she doesn't get a half expenses paid trip with her entire family.
I feel a lot of people forget that, like, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the... Wait, no. The water of the covenant is thicker than the blood of the womb.
But nothing is thicker than that ass.
Am I the a-hole for being sad over choosing the relationship? I'm a 27-year-old female, and I used to be an exotic dancer. I am now in a relationship with Billy, 32-year-old male, for 1 year. I never really felt that Billy accepted me or my past. For example, in arguments, he brings up that he worries he can't trust me because he believes patterns, and people in my profession have questionable patterns.
What, like making money to survive?
He's probably the kind of person who thinks that, like, once a cheater, always a cheater. Like, I mean, yeah, in that case it can be true, but, like, there's a difference between doing something out of social habit and doing something out of, like, this is a job and I need that job for money.
He's just stereotyping all sex workers, which is not what we do anymore. It's 2021.
Here's the story. When I stopped dancing, I joined a pole studio who had a legit entertainment company on the side. I did a couple of small gigs with them, themed dances at bars and portable poles, before Billy and I moved in together 3 states away for his new job in July. I left behind everything for the relationship. The company recently contacted me saying that they needed another high-level dancer for a major concert at the biggest venue in town. I would have been on stage with an international celebrity. The problem is, that celebrity wanted a sexy, scantily clad, high-heeled performance on said stage. Billy was 100% not okay with me taking the job because what guy wants his girlfriend hypersexualized and half-dressed in front of a handful of people? We talked about it for hours, even with our couples therapist. I initially decided to go and Billy threw a fit. He threw his phone, ignored my I love yous, avoided me, and actively withheld affection for over 18 hours. He later told me that I had chosen this gig over the relationship. First time I heard that, and that he felt unheard. So I caved and declined the gig. I really did see his point, and his behavior was too much. Now I've been crying for hours as all my old friends are preparing for a big frickin' deal, and Billy can't seem to understand why. He's a completely different person now. Affectionate, comforting, yet upset that I'm not matching his effort to move past this. I just want to be sad and mourn the loss of this opportunity. I don't want the source of my pain to be what comforts me tonight. Am I the a-hole for being sad about making a decision for him and his feelings? I mean, based on the story, absolutely Nadar. I would have to say that he is an a-hole in this situation. I wouldn't really say he's emotionally manipulated her, because he genuinely is being upset that his partner is doing something that he doesn't feel comfortable with. And, you know, you are allowed to be expressing your discomfort in your partner doing something that is pursuing a thing that sexualizing yourself for the oogling eyes of a bunch of people to drool over you. That said, I still think that you have every right and freedom to do that kind of thing. Dancing and sexy dancing in general is it's a skill to learn. It's not just like, you're not just born into it. But you know, I have to ask that question on your end then, on your perspective. Is it too close to that spectrum of just objectifying yourself and further encouraging the idea that women are just only good for looking at and being sexy in front of us to drool over, versus she's allowed to pursue this thing as she wants because she's allowed to do with her body however she wants, regardless of the repercussions in people viewing it and society further perceiving women as, you know, objects to oogle at. Like, you can say that, oh, I'm doing this because I choose to, but it's still encouraging and normalizing the idea that, you know, you as a woman are predominantly meant to be sexy for us.
If that's how society wants to perceive us,
yep,
then make it rain, bitches.
No, I like that. That's a good point. Yeah. If people are going to drool over you, might as well make them pay for it.
I really want to know what she's doing for work now, or if he's kind of taken on her like a poor injured bird. It's like, oh, sweetheart, I rescued you. You were dancing for a living and I make all this money, so let me take care of you. I don't feel comfortable with you dancing anymore because I'm here now. I can take care of you.
If she was an exotic dancer, like she's been doing that for a while, that's her experience and profession, he should have known what he was getting into when he started being serious with her. Like, what, you're shocked that she's going to be getting gigs still every now and again that are relevant to being a skilled and seductive dancer?
She was obviously good. Like, the company called for her specifically after she moved 3 states away. So she's good at what she does.
Like, it's one thing to have promised him from the start of the relationship that I'm over this now, this is my past, but she hasn't. So she hasn't mentioned that she had. So yeah, this is, again, Billy, totally fine to be saying that, yeah, I don't feel comfortable about this, and I feel like it's disrespectful if you do this. You should also respect her thoughts of the fact that she's seeing this as an opportunity, as like a gig, a performance. Like, as you can criticize the sexuality of it all you want, it's still a performance. The dance might be predominantly just her shaking her butt and like just constantly putting her hands all over her boobs and hips and stuff like that, but it's still a performance and should still be regarded and respected as such.
As long as she's not going backstage to have sex with the celebrity, I think everything is fine.
Well done, my friends. You've made it to the end of this video. Let's see if this works. Boop. I'm assuming editor Jack made this work. I hope he did. Better have made it work so my head can spin around like a weirdo. Whee! Please like this video and subscribe because I put effort into doing some stupid green screen BS. I shall leave you now. Hope you had some fun and enjoyed the stories. Emily, say bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. She's not embarrassed by me at all.
Not
See ya.
impressed.
Good to have you back.